So if y'all remember, a while ago, I did one of these videos where a friend of mine from work took a camera, shoved it up my nose. I'll put it up here, whoop, right there, so you can see that. And it got me thinking about other coworkers and friends of mine that have talents and skills and they can do things that are, fun and interesting. And found out that one of my coworkers, are you a yogi?
I guess you could say that.
She's okay. That's great because I've never actually met someone who's a yogi. Okay, I'm gonna be working out with my yogi friend, and we're gonna be doing yoga, obviously, and we're just gonna hang out, do some things, and towards the end, it's gonna get a little interesting because I fancy myself one of the more flexible people at work, and I was wondering if there's any kind of yoga thing, right, that I can't do. So, we're gonna have a little conversation, then I'm going to try something expert level, just straight up. Also gonna try and not talk and walk at the same time, cause
It's crunchy.
So, what was the aha moment for you that was like, oh, this?
Well, I've been practicing yoga since college, and I really enjoy it personally. And was thinking about our work, and inpatient rehab is like really heavy duty, and I often hurt myself, hurt my back. I always do too much, and should call you more often for help.
Yeah, you should.
So I was trying to think of ways of like, how could I set my career in a trajectory that was like more sustainable long term? It was actually my husband's idea. He was like, is there any way you can incorporate yoga and occupational therapy? I'm like, yeah, probably. I decided to start doing some research. I found an adaptive yoga training, and then I decided that I wanted to go ahead and get yoga teacher certified as well, just to have the full, or just a solid base of background.
What is adaptive yoga? Because I've not heard of that.
That's what I'm most interested in, because what I'm realizing is like if I turn on a YouTube video that's like start yoga, a lot of them start with like, okay, get on your hands and knees on the floor, and that eliminates like all of our patients. Like you can't. And most people were like, don't get on the floor. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what options are there? And I started looking up like on YouTube. There are chair yoga things, and like Silver Sneakers will have some chair yoga options, but a lot of times they're pretty basic, and there'll be maybe one video option and not like a continuous library. So I wanted to make more resources and then make it kind of like a wider breadth of options. So I'm doing some seated, some with the support of a chair. Plan to do some like completely on the floor for someone who could get down. Like the floor is a great place to be.
But if you can't get there.
Right. It's all the ups and downs that's really, really hard. So adaptive yoga training I did was specifically for people with disabilities. So you worked a lot with people with MS or cerebral palsy or something like that. They're not moving in a typical way. So you maybe approach it a little differently. A lot more like bolsters and supports and stuff.
And so the training that you went to get, was that like at just a facility here? Was that in another state?
Actually went to Minneapolis for a week to train with a guy. It's called Mind Body Solutions was the place, but the fellow who runs it is paralyzed from the waist down, and so he practices yoga as a paralyzed person, and he started it after his accident. So
that's not something you really think of. Someone who's specifically paralyzed from the waist down doing yoga.
Right. Yeah. I was like, okay, awesome. He knows.
Right.
And it was interesting what he was saying is that he was able to discover like a mindful connection to his paralyzed part of his body, even though it never would move. It was still like he could be aware of his legs, and that's what yoga helped him do, which I thought was really powerful.
Let's do some of the exercises, posing, the posturing that you talk about.
Okay.
Just at a basic level, just so we can see what it looks like.
Sure.
Because at least for me, the typical yoga is mat, and you're like on the ground, but then there's like a leg in the air or something.
Yeah.
So we'll just start from the beginning. Walk us through whatever we got.
Okay, we can start with a little sun salutation.
Hang on.
And do you want me to do...
I know that was a great throw. Sorry. Not so great throw. I'll follow you, and then if I'm not doing it right, then you can
I'll tell you.
push an arm over or whatever.
Okay, so we're starting in mountain pose. So plant your feet on the ground. Crunch in those leaves. And then what we're going to pay attention to throughout is your base of support. So in a chair, it's your feet and your hips. As you're sitting in mountain pose, imagine you could grow roots out through your feet and through your sit bones. So you're really grounding yourself in the chair and into the ground. So there's a lot of energy going down. From all that stability, find some length up through your spine, all the way out through the crown of your head. And don't let your ribs pop forward or keep being engaged here through the core. And you can choose...
Because that's immediately what I did was to go back.
You're right, exactly. So engage through the abdomen. So your length is all through your back body, out through the crown of your head. And then just find your breath here. So you're maintaining all this energy, but breathe into the sides of your rib cage. So it'll be about here that you're breathing out, letting your rib cage expand, open. And then as you exhale, you're knitting your ribs back together.
Okay.
So maybe take 3 deep breaths here. On your exhale, maybe breathe out like you could fog up a mirror. So a kind of loud exhale. Nice. Now we're going to incorporate some movement. So let your hands come down to the side. That mountain pose will always be our baseline. So it can be a spot we return to or a spot you can rest. But on your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Let your neck stay relaxed and just let your shoulder blades rotate on your back. You're lengthening out, reaching through your fingertips. Then hinge forward from your hips, reach all the way forward, and let yourself fold down towards your feet. And let your head be heavy. On your next inhale, put your hands on your thighs and lengthen out through the top of your head so you make a flat back. And then exhale, fold back towards your feet. Inhale, push through your feet and your hips and rise all the way back up, arms overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center. Nice. Okay, we're gonna add in some lunges, so a kind of dynamic sun salutation A.
I do want to say, this is a really mental thing, and it's almost like you are exercising your control over patience and small movements. It's really interesting.
Yeah, the isometric energy becomes really important. And because you could really work just as hard sitting in a chair as you are standing up. So it's definitely a lot of the subtle mind-body connection. Yeah,
interesting. All right.
Okay, turn sideways in your chair. This may be a little bit, you can turn that way and I can coach you if you want.
Yeah.
This way I can see you. So you're actually going to sit with your left hip a little bit off the front of the chair. So it's going to take some dynamic core stability here. You can hold on with your right hand. Feel free to hold on to the chair with your right hand. So find your mountain pose here. And then we're going to do the same thing. So drop your arm to the side. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Inhale, hand on your thigh, lengthen out for a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Okay, exhale, relax your arm. Now you're going to step your left foot back behind you. So you can peek back at me if you need to, but it's going to feel a little precarious, but
I am holding on.
Yes,
I am holding on.
This is the part where you want to hold on, and this is the one I'm scared to do with patience.
Hold on, wait.
Oh no.
Sorry.
The dangers of folding chairs. Okay. So a lot of energy down through both feet.
Oh yeah.
Your knees tracking towards your second toe in the front, and then your back heel is pointing straight towards the sky. Then you can put your hand on your hip or wherever it feels comfortable. Press down so much through your feet that your butt might rise up off the chair. So you're really engaging a lot. And then you can relax down. or you could just maintain that energy where you're almost hovering.
Okay.
And then if you feel stable, you can reach one arm up overhead. This is our warrior one.
Same arm? This arm?
Yeah, that one for sure. Keep the other one on the chair.
It's gonna stay there.
Yep. So a lot of energy down through both feet.
Definitely.
And then think about toning through your low belly. So you're lifting your low abdomen sort of up. So you're keeping some engagement there in the bottom of your abdomen. And still keeping length through the top of your head. And then you could step your foot forward carefully.
Yep.
Nice. And then we can rotate and try it on the other side.
That was actual work. If you guys want to try this at home, it is actual. Like, you're not really doing much, but you're engaging like opposite pieces, and it's great. Okay.
And yeah, do it on uneven ground outside, and you might.
You might fall over.
In general, I recommend doing it inside with a mat underneath you.
Right. And
but
maybe not with a folding chair.
Yeah, that's a dicey bit for sure. They're portable, but
yeah. I mean, it's great for what we're doing here, but if you're for the kids at home.
So actually start with both your feet together. Find mountain pose on this side. Yep. And then we're gonna. So really plant through your feet, and you can even notice what happens in your hips and core that you have to stabilize without that chair underneath you. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward, fold towards your feet. Hand on your thigh, inhale, lengthen, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up. And then we'll exhale, hand to hip. Step your right leg back. So we're finding sort of 90-90 in the knees, but if you eventually want to step longer, if a wider stance feels more comfortable, that's fine. And then you decide how much you want to engage. You could press so much that you lift off the chair, or just keep a steady pressure down through both feet. Lifting through the low abdomen, broad back, tall head. And if you feel stable, you can reach an arm up overhead for a full warrior one. Step forward carefully, come back to the middle.
I don't know if the folks at home could see it, but I was shaking there at the end. I was shaking. I need to get back into the gym more.
Also, you're a tall man in a low chair, so you've got some extra quad activation going on.
But this is, so if for whatever reason I wasn't able to get to the gym because of like up and down limitations, I could get a pretty good workout as well as the other things we're talking about with just a chair and myself.
Sure, and I love that it's all body weight.
Yeah.
And it's all pretty accessible, and then it's all pretty customizable. Like you can decide how hard you want to work. Right. Because I could just sit here and not really do any energetic movement, but if I really press down, it's like, whew, that is a hard workout.
In both legs.
Yeah. The next one's, this is kind of the starting point where you have one foot pointing out and one foot pointing forward. This is like level 1, 90-degree angle. If someone has more open hips, they can step all the way and straddle the chair to get a full. Okay. How we doing this?
Okay, hold on. So from here, I can go one this way.
One steps out. And you kind of have to lift your hips a little bit to get there. Yeah.
Because I can't do the splits, but I can get my feet far apart.
Yeah, totally. And that looks perfect. So this shape, I'll go the same way as you. This is kind of our basis for Warrior 2 and for side angle pose. Okay. So what we're thinking about here, obviously it's a big stretch just in itself.
I'm feeling it.
So your base of support here is through your feet and through your hip. You've probably got like one sit bone really grounded into the chair. From there we find a lot of lift through the low abdomen, rib cage stays down, shoulders are broad, and then we can reach the arms out to the side. And the energy is down through your feet, your knee is pointing out over your second toe, and your gaze is over your front arm. Oh no, that's a big boy.
Sorry,
mess with those.
But you had a mosquito.
Yeah, that was important.
Figured I would say something.
So same thing in this pose, you could decide, you could push down so much that you lift and stand.
Goodness.
Or you can keep rooted through that hip.
Back.
Oh no.
Okay, I got it. Oh, I mean, I'm scared. That is interesting. That takes a lot of work and control.
Mm-hmm.
From just here to there.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
And then
I'm feeling it in here, whatever muscle this is,
mm-hmm.
and then under here, and on top.
Yeah.
And so over here, this is a full like lower body exercise.
Mm-hmm. And then from here, reach through your front hand so your hips bend, and then you can put your forearm down on your thigh and reach your other arm up towards the sky. This is extended side angle. Or you could bring your arm up overhead and get a really big side body stretch.
Oh man.
What I like about this is it gives you a chance to get lower than you probably would if you were standing. Like you probably wouldn't naturally find this deep of a stance if you were standing up.
Because you wouldn't be able to get back up from here.
And then reach through your fingers and kind of windmill back up. And you can step your feet back to center. So we could do the same on the other side to keep it even.
So I'm even.
Yep, so we're gonna step the right foot out. And then this is always like your level 1 base, right? Like you could do warrior 2, you could do side angle with legs like this.
Okay.
If a lot of people can't open their legs that wide. So this is always where I start, folks. And then if they're feeling bold, we step all the way out.
Feeling bold today.
Uh-huh.
I say that now. We'll see what happens in about 2 minutes.
And then you can decide what part of your leg you have on the chair. So like I have most of my front thigh supported.
Yeah.
So it feels a little more stable. And we're paying close attention to where the knee's tracking. So the hips aren't going to be totally open because it's not really anatomically how things work. So they're going to be at kind of like 3/4 open.
Yeah.
And just find.
Is this about right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that looks great. And then a lot of energy down through your feet, especially through the inner blade of your back foot. So the inside edge, pressing down, and then you can find warrior 2. You could explore, pushing down more to lift up. And the key with anything in yoga is finding a balance between effort and ease.
Uh-huh.
So you don't want to work so hard that you lose your breath.
Oh, okay. That's an important, I guess, tenet of this.
Yes. It's not a show-off sport. Well, it depends on who you talk to. Okay, and then hinge from your hips, put your forearm on your thigh, and reach your arm up. It can come all the way over if you like. And keep a energetic push down through your elbow so that you're keeping some space through your torso.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. And then reach through your fingertips, windmill it back up. And just carefully step your knees back in.
Yeah. Carefully.
Carefully.
So, I am discovering things about myself. I may be flexible. I cannot sustain that flex. I can get there, but then my body immediately is like, nope, back it up, back it up, back it up.
That's an interesting thing about yoga is like it's strengthening at the end range.
Right.
Which is definitely a way to build more flexibility, but it's out of our norm for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, I got myself into this. Let's try for the hard stuff. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so these poses are kind of why I wanted to do adaptive yoga because they're kind of inaccessible. So I'll just give you the full intro. So we'll start with a standing balance pose.
Okay.
This is called eagle. I like to approach eagle from chair pose. So go ahead and drop your hips back. Well, start with your feet straight, parallel, hip width distance apart. Drop your hips back. And you can keep your hands on your hips for now. You're gonna lean all your weight into your right foot and let your left foot hover off the ground. And cross your left foot over the right. And if you've got the space, you can hook it behind and for a full double bind. And really squeeze your inner thighs together.
And windmill.
And then reach your arms up. You're going to cross your right arm underneath the left and bind the hands.
Wait, hold on.
So right arm comes in underneath the left, it wraps around and your palms touch. And Elbows reach forward.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
So there's a lot of energy going between your hands, and then your elbows are reaching forward and up. And you're breathing.
You're breathing. Okay.
And unwind gently.
Okay, hold on. I want to try one more time.
Yeah. You want to try the other leg?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
going to try the other leg. Okay.
So here's some tips, is find a spot to look at that's not moving.
Okay.
So that you can hold your balance. And then the more you squeeze your legs together, the more stable you're going to feel. So
Okay.
even though it feels harder to get to sink deeper, if you're sitting really deep and you're squeezing hard, you're going to feel like you have a better base of support. So,
Learning.
okay, so sit back into your chair.
Uh-huh.
Shift all your weight into the left foot so the right foot floats up and it crosses. Now my left leg is not as stable as my right. So you cross and hook your foot behind.
Find that spot.
Yeah, maybe sink those hips a little deeper. And then left arm wraps them underneath the right.
Ooh, finding that spot was super helpful.
Oh yeah.
I was looking everywhere else.
That's your dristy. Your focus point.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Come on, back.
But I did hold it.
Yeah,
I did
you
hold
did.
it for like 4 good seconds.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, this next pose is going to be an arm balance. And guys usually are better at it than girls because they're muscular man shoulders. So my husband doesn't do yoga at all, and he can do this, and it makes me so mad because
Well-
I've worked really hard for this.
Well, great. Now I have something else to live up to. All right.
So let's.
I'm gonna watch you do it because it's arm balance. So I have an idea.
Oh yeah, you won't be able to see me while you're trying it. So we start with like your feet pretty wide and drop your hips back into a full squat. This is Malasana. So your elbows are pushing against the inside of your knees. And then you plant your hands and really like get your knees up on your shoulders so that you're like a full frog. And then you start to lean forward. Your arms are going to support your whole body. So you get to your tiptoes and see if you can let go. And then you try to hover there.
without also slamming your face into the ground in front of you. Being the optimal thing.
The good thing is your face is not that far from the ground. So
You do fall. It's not
I've
that long.
hit it in my face before. Usually it's that people are too nervous to pop up there, and so you stay on your toes.
Okay.
But what you're thinking about in that
All right.
position is like really engaging your arms and your core so that it's more of a balance than a like push up.
Okay.
That makes sense.
More of a balance and a push up. Okay. All right. So
you're dropping all the way back, let your butt come all the way to the ground.
now this I can do.
That's a really good start because
you know-
not everybody can do that.
Because TikTok is full of the Asian squat. Y'all heard of that?
Well, they spend their whole life sitting like that, and the American culture just doesn't. We hardly ever move that way. So,
is that like a real thing?
yeah, because in Asia, a lot of times they'll work like this, and so they're a lot naturally more comfortable just from day-to-day practice. And we are very rarely in this position. I weirdly was born without fully formed Achilles tendons, so it's very easy for me to do this. Okay,
That's great.
So
Okay.
from here, we're
Right.
planting the hands.
Hands planted.
And then think of it as a weight shift. So you're coming up onto your toes, but don't let your butt come too high into the air because you want to stay in like a low ball.
Okay.
And then you're shifting your weight into your hands.
Where do my... Okay, like just like that. Okay. 1 second.
And your knees are pressing against your triceps. Nice. And you're breathing.
I mean, I'm...
Nice.
Okay, hang on. I gotta try again. 'Cause I got the other one. I gotta try this one.
See if you can keep your hips down lower.
Okay.
That was something I was doing for a long time. Like My hips were like up here, and I was trying to balance, and that's really hard.
Okay.
So if you can stay down low in your little crouched position and just shift your weight forward.
So it's more of a rocking forward
Yes.
than it is tipping over.
Yes.
Okay. If y'all at home trying this, get like a pillow or something over here.
Don't actually put your hand on the pillow, because then you really will smash your face.
Okay. So I also feel like I don't have much control out going this way. So should my arms stay in?
Well, they're really pressing like tricep to inner knee.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of like force between your arm and your knee.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably what was messing you up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then bring your heels towards your butt.
All right, here
Now
we go.
you're scared.
You know what? That's probably what it is. All right, let's see.
That's close.
I might need to have stronger wrists.
And think about pushing with your pecs like you're doing a bench press.
Okay, okay. I told you, this stuff is mental. Like actually using your brain to connect with your body to do these exercises, which, you know, in effect benefits both. Okay.
Nice, that's it.
Okay.
All
I
right.
got a second and a half.
Yeah, you did.
I got a second and a half. Thank you very much. This was fun.
Sweating now.
I am. But I'm breathing. That was important.
Yes. So, yeah, I've been making my own YouTube videos of chair yoga and then standing chair yoga as well.
I'll put those around the screen so y'all can see some of that.
Y'all can look at
Tag
that. We won't be doing this pose.
No, no. This was just for me and for us. That's all.
But you can do eagle in a chair because you can cross your legs and do the arms. So I do that pretty often.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I'll put that link down below. Thank you very much. We had a great time. And if you decide to try any of these at home, maximize safety, have a great time, and send in a video if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Send in a video so we can. Hey. If someone sent in a video, would you be open to like guiding them and doing some like slight coaching on their poses and positions and styles?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and like as I'm talking through my videos, I'm giving a lot of, like I did with you, of like cueing as far as what to do with your shoulders and your abdomen and stuff, but there's obviously a lot of components that can get overwhelming, and so, but especially if something's like you need help troubleshooting something, like it's not feeling like it's working, then yeah, we could definitely do that virtually.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a good one. We'll get out of here.
Yeah.